In 2020, people were terrified to dance on the internet. They were scared of looking stupid on TikTok. Now those same people are getting up at 6 a.m. to clock in for a job they hate. Meanwhile, a 12-year-old just made more money this month reselling Pokemon cards than you made working full-time at your job. And here's the real kicker. You still think you need a business plan, funding, or an MBA to start a business in 2025? Bro, that's like saying you need a commercial kitchen and a diploma from Le Cordon Bleu to sell cookies on Instagram. Wake up. The economy has changed. Money doesn't care about your resume, it cares about value, period. And that's exactly what this book, The $100 Startup, is about. Skipping the gatekeepers, ignoring the BS, and turning your skills, passions, and random ideas into freedom. Not some dreamy manifest your dreams kind of freedom. I'm talking about walking into your boss's office and saying, "Thanks, but I'm done here. Let's go." The $100 Startup, Reinvent the Way You Make a Living, Do What You Love, and Create a New Future is a book by Chris Guillebeau, a guy who traveled to every country in the world without having a real job. He never waited for permission, never chased investors. He just started doing stuff, writing, importing Jamaican coffee, freelance jazz gigs, and somehow paid his bills doing it. This book is his blueprint for doing the same. But more than that, it's a war cry against the idea that you need to go big or go home. It's a slap in the face to the people still waiting for the right time to start something. So, if you're waiting to get your ducks in a row, newsflash, those ducks aren't coming. This book is about starting dirty, starting now, and making it work without begging a bank for money or burning your soul out for a 9-to-5 you low-key resent. And before we dive deeper, here's your legal disclaimer. This video is under the Fair Use Act. It's for educational purposes only, and it's not a replacement for the book. In fact, if anything I say slaps you in the face with truth, go buy the book. Because Chris didn't just write theory, he backed it up with hard data, real case studies, and hundreds of accidental entrepreneurs who turned side hustles into six-figure incomes. So, yeah, we're about to break down the ideas chapter by chapter. But this won't be a book report. This is real talk. If you're ready to stop waiting, start building, and possibly get offended by a few uncomfortable truths, buckle up. Let's get into it. The skills you already forgot you had. You know what's wild? You could have already been free, but instead, you spent years Googling best small businesses to start in 2025, like you're trying to unlock a cheat code instead of realizing you are the cheat code. Because here's what nobody tells you. The secret to starting a business isn't hiding in a TED Talk or buried in some $10,000 mastermind course. It's already sitting in your resume, your weekend hobbies, and that one weird skill your friends always ask you about, but you keep brushing off like it doesn't matter. Chris Guillebeau starts this entire thing by smacking us with one truth. You already have what you need. It's not about learning something new. It's about seeing your old skills with new eyes. Your job isn't to go out and discover yourself. It's to stop ignoring yourself. You don't need a revelation. You need to wake up. Take James Kirk, not the Star Trek guy. He left Seattle and started a coffee shop after realizing that importing beans wasn't about being a coffee nerd. It was about building a story people wanted to be part of. Or John and Barbara Varian, who went from furniture makers to cowboy ranch hosts, not by launching a product, but by offering an identity. Come to our ranch and you'll be a cowboy, even if just for a day. See the difference? People don't pay for features, they pay for feelings. No one wants to learn to fish, they want the fish, on a plate, seasoned, and with a glass of wine. But most of you are out here trying to be professors when you should be chefs. You're building courses instead of transformations, businesses instead of dreams. That's why your ideas feel boring, because you're selling what you do, not what people become by working with you. And before you hit me with the, "but I don't know what I'm good at," excuse, let's kill that lie right now. If you've ever taught yourself to cook, build a spreadsheet, DJ at a party, or explain tech to your grandma, you've got marketable skills. You're just too close to them to see it. Chris calls this skill transformation. You take what you already know and tweak it into something useful. You're not reinventing yourself, you're remixing yourself. Maybe you're good at spreadsheets. Congrats, you can help small businesses automate their invoicing. Are you the friend who always plans vacations? Boom, trip consultant. Can you organize chaos like a ninja? Businesses will pay you to manage their operations. You think you need genius, but you just need clarity. Here's a shocker from the book. You don't even need a business plan. You don't need funding. You don't need 10,000 followers. All you need is three things. 1, something to sell. 2, someone to sell it to. 3, a way to get paid. Everything else, optional. That 6-month social media strategy you're drafting while not making a single dollar. Waste of time. Your perfect website with 0 traffic. Digital art gallery. The world doesn't pay for potential. It pays for results. You either solve a problem or you don't. You either help someone or you're just noise. And speaking of help, if your business pitch sounds like a Wikipedia page, you're doing it wrong. You don't sell horseback riding on a ranch. You sell the fantasy of becoming a cowboy. You don't sell meal plans. You sell freedom from food stress. You don't sell fitness coaching. You sell finally liking what you see in the mirror. That's what give them the fish means. Don't drag people behind the scenes. Don't teach them the back end of Shopify or the mechanics of your service. Give them what they crave and let them enjoy it without the homework. The most successful micro-businesses, according to Chris, understood one thing. People want to be happy. They want more time, less stress, better sex, fewer bills, more meaning. They don't care how it works. They just want it to work. And if you're not offering that, you're forgettable. What's stopping you isn't a lack of ability. It's your addiction to overcomplication. You're so busy thinking, I'm not ready, that you've ignored the reality that nobody else is either. Every entrepreneur you admire, they started dirty, they started clumsy, they started before they knew what they were doing. That's how you learn. And yeah, you'll mess up. But guess what? You mess up every day at your 9 to 5 and still get paid. So why not make the mistakes while building your own thing? The harsh truth is this. If you're waiting to be an expert, you'll be waiting forever. The world doesn't reward the smartest. It rewards the starters, especially the ones who know how to wrap emotion in a product and sell it like an invitation to a better life. So stop asking if you're qualified. Start asking who you can help, how fast you can help them, and what you can package today. Because if you're sitting on skills that can create transformation and you're doing nothing with them, then you're not stuck. You're selfish. Key takeaway: you don't need to learn something new. You need to recognize the value in what you already know and then package it in a way that makes people feel like they're buying joy, peace, identity, or freedom, not just stuff. Favorite quote: give them the fish, because people don't want to cook. They want the damn meal served hot, fast, and without lifting a finger. Your job? Be the chef, not the instructor. Passion is not a plan, but it's a clue. You've been lied to, again. Do what you love and the money will follow. Sounds inspiring, right? It also sounds like something your yoga teacher said before going back to bartending on the weekends. The truth? Doing what you love will get you exactly one thing: tired. Unless, and this is a big unless, it intersects with something people are actually willing to pay for. This is the part where most people tap out, because they want the fantasy without the friction. They want the 6-figure lifestyle with the 5-minute effort. They want to travel the world teaching yoga or baking cupcakes or talking about mushrooms on a podcast, but don't want to ask themselves the inconvenient question: who actually wants this and will they pay me for it? Chris Guillebeau doesn't say to ignore your passion. He says, don't be an idiot about it. Passion is not a business model. It's a clue. It's a breadcrumb. It's a starting point. The equation that actually works: passion plus skill plus usefulness equals income. That last part is the killer. It has to be useful, not cute, not fun. Useful. Let's talk about Brandon Pierce. Guy was a piano teacher who got sick of managing payments and schedules, so he made software for himself just to keep his head from exploding. Then other teachers were like, yo, can we get that? Boom, accidental empire. He didn't follow his bliss. He followed a problem, his own, solved it, sold the solution. Now he runs the whole thing while living in Costa Rica. That's what doing what you love actually looks like when it's mixed with usefulness. Or take Benny Lewis, the Irish guy who turned language hacking into a lifestyle business. He didn't get paid to learn languages. He got paid to help other people learn languages. There's a huge difference. Nobody cares about your dream unless it helps them live theirs. Here's what separates the romantic from the entrepreneur. One tries to turn a hobby into a paycheck without ever asking if anyone else gives a damn. The other builds a bridge between what they love and what other people need. That bridge, it's called value. And if you're not building it, don't expect to get paid. The hard part, most people don't want their hobby to become their job. They want to keep it pure, untouched by deadlines or clients or accountability, which is fine. Just don't confuse that for a business. Playing guitar in your basement is a hobby. Helping beginners learn to play their first song and feel good about themselves, that's value. That's a business. Learn the damn difference. A lot of people crash and burn here because they fall for the I love doing it, so someone will pay me for it myth. Newsflash. Nobody owes you a living for following your heart. Mignon Fogarty loved science podcasts. Did one for a year. It flopped. Then she pivoted to grammar and built a content empire. Same passion, different application, same effort, different result. Why? Because the second one solved a problem. That's the unlock. And if you think you're too creative or too spiritual or too artistic to sell something, please stop flattering yourself. You're not a tortured genius. You're just afraid to test reality. Chris doesn't tell you to kill your passion. He tells you to respect it enough to make it sustainable. To ask the questions most people are too soft to ask. Will people pay for this? Can I build something repeatable? Can I teach it, ship it, package it, or digitize it? People talk about finding purpose like it's a divine calling whispered from the clouds, but purpose doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives when you realize you can turn something you love into something useful for someone else. And when you get paid for it consistently, that's when you stop questioning whether you were meant to do it. This is where the magic happens. This is where passion meets pragmatism, where ideas become income. And guess what? You don't need a beach house or a business coach to make it work. You just need to stop being precious and start being useful. You don't need to find the perfect niche. You need to find a person with a problem and solve it faster, cheaper, or better than what's out there. And while we're killing myths, no, you don't need an office or a logo or investors. You need Wi-Fi, a Stripe account, and maybe a pair of pants. And even that's optional, depending on your camera angle. The internet already gave you a passport. You just haven't used it. People are running six-figure businesses out of Airbnbs and coffee shops and hostels. They're filming content on $100 phones and selling ebooks they wrote on Google Docs. This isn't the future. It's now. And if you're still playing the I need a plan card, you're not planning. You're hiding. You're not too early. You're not too late. You're just too scared to go public. And that fear, that's not passion. That's ego dressed up like caution. It tells you to wait until it's perfect. Until you have more time, more experience, more something, stop listening. The world doesn't reward the most talented. It rewards the ones who start. Here's the raw truth. Doing what you love is a privilege. Turning it into profit is a skill. If you want to keep it as a weekend thing, fine. But if you want it to pay the bills, grow up, package it, and sell it. Because passion without execution is just procrastination in disguise. You already have the clue. Now follow it, with your eyes wide open. Key takeaway, passion isn't the destination, it's the compass. If it doesn't point to value, you're going in circles. Favorite quote, if passion drives you, let reason hold the reins. Don't find your customer, define them. Let's face it, you're obsessed with demographics. You've been told your whole life that you need to know the age, income, and zip code of your customer to succeed. That's the same advice you get when you hear about target markets and niche products. It's almost as if businesses are trying to fit people into neat little boxes, right? Guess what? It's all a lie. The real world doesn't give a damn about whether your customer is 35 or 65, whether they live in a $500,000 home or an apartment with 3 roommates. What really matters is whether they believe in the same thing you do, their age and location. Irrelevant. what they believe and what they value. That's where the magic happens. Think about it. Do you really need to know whether your customer is a 22-year-old college student or a 40-year-old professional when they all want the same thing? A solution, a change, a transformation. That's the key idea Chris Guillebeau drops in his book. The demographic boxes you've been taught to put people in, throw them out the window. Customers don't belong in a box defined by gender, race, or income. They belong to a box defined by shared values. You don't need to know if they're millennials or baby boomers. Who cares? It's not about their age. It's about what they believe. For example, when Mark and Charlie started their Kinetic coffee company, they didn't focus on whether their customers were male or female, young or old. They went after outdoor enthusiasts, people who loved cycling, hiking, and skiing. Why? Because they believed in those activities, and that belief was shared by a diverse group of people who valued it just as much. They didn't label their customer base based on traditional demographics. They sold to a tribe, a group united by common interests, passions, and ideals. And that tribe, they bought in. Why? Because the product connected with their identity. It wasn't just coffee, it was coffee for people who lived a certain way. Now, you're probably sitting there thinking, but how do I even know what people believe? That's where things get real. You have to start listening, not just to what people say, but to what they do. What do they spend money on? What do they share online? Where do they show up? These are the clues. You need to stop obsessing over demographic data and start looking for these patterns in real life. People don't want a coffee mug. They want something that connects with their identity, something that says, I'm a part of this. Your business should give them exactly that. This is the new landscape of business in 2025. Forget about age, income, or location. Build your business around a belief system. Target customers who are passionate about the same things you are, whether that's fitness, sustainability, or even minimalism. Your business isn't about trying to serve everyone. It's about defining a movement, a group of people who share your passion and mission. And when you speak to that passion, when you align yourself with their beliefs, your product sells itself. And here's the kicker. You don't even need to be right. There is no magic formula for customer success. The key is to define your customer in terms of their beliefs and values and create a product that serves them. That's it. All you need is a common thread that ties you and your customers together. It's not about creating a product that fits the largest market. It's about creating a product that connects deeply with the right market. That's what Mark and Charlie did with Kinetic Coffee, and that's why they succeeded. But the truth is, the real work doesn't stop at finding this tribe. You need a way to engage them. And that's where the one-page business plan comes in. No, not that 40-page deck you think you need to land a VC. You don't need that. The business plan you need is as simple as, who am I serving? What do they need? How do I deliver it? One page. That's it. When you overcomplicate things with fancy projections, charts, and spreadsheets, you forget the whole point. A business is about value. A business is about solving a problem in a way that people are willing to pay for. Don't waste your time with fluff. Focus on the three core elements that make a successful business: a product, a customer, and a way to get paid. Now, here's the real challenge. Most people fail because they never take the first step. They get caught up in perfecting a plan, getting the perfect idea, and waiting for a sign. Stop waiting. The sooner you start, the sooner you'll fail, the sooner you'll learn, and the sooner you'll win. Because here's the deal. You can't plan your way to success. You can't. You need to do. Test, pivot, repeat. That's how you learn. That's how you grow. And for the love of all that's good in business, do not get stuck on the perfect business plan. A business plan is a living document. It should change as your business changes. You think Airbnb wrote a 100-page business plan in 2008 that told them they would disrupt the hotel industry? Hell no. They got started, failed, adapted, and then dominated. In fact, the real way to succeed isn't to find your customer, it's to define them. Find a group of people who believe what you believe and give them exactly what they want. Build something that speaks to their identity. Don't sell them features, sell them the transformation. That's what makes them loyal. Key takeaway: forget the old school demographics. Define your customer by what they believe in, not their age or gender. Once you do that, the product almost sells itself. Favorite quote: business opportunities are like buses. There's always another one coming. Craft the offer they can't walk away from. There are two kinds of people in the world: those who understand how to sell transformation, and those who still think a clever slogan and 15% off will do the trick. One gets rich, the other gets buried in a sea of ignored pitches, broken funnels, and pity likes. You want to be the first kind, the one who crafts offers so good they don't just sell, they haunt your customers' dreams until they click buy. If you're not building an offer that makes people hit refresh like it's Black Friday at 3 a.m., you're not offering anything. They're just being polite by ignoring you softly. Chris Guillebeau makes it painfully clear: your offer isn't about what you're selling, it's about how it feels to get it. A compelling offer has one goal: to sell transformation. Nobody wakes up in the morning craving your product. They wake up craving the result, the shortcut, the story where they're the hero. And that's what you're really selling. A good offer doesn't scream, "Look at me." It whispers, "You'd be stupid not to." Think about the marathon orange. Chris ran 18 miles and got handed a fresh slice of citrus. He didn't just accept it, he moved to get it. That's the kind of visceral, intuitive appeal your offer should have. You don't need logic, you need craving. On the flip side, the Krispy Kreme donut 2 miles later was an insult. Same context, same runner, wrong timing. Relevance matters more than cleverness. So, what's the formula? It's simple. The right product, the right person, the right moment. Not rocket science, not brand strategizing till your soul gives out. Just 3 points of alignment and boom, you're not selling a product anymore, you're offering a damn miracle. Look at TourSaver, a literal coupon book in a world where most people think print is dead. But guess what? They didn't sell coupons. They sold $500 helicopter rides for $100. They sold buy one whale watching tour, get one free. They sold freedom, and they framed it like this: use one coupon, it pays for itself. Use the rest, that's profit. That's math people actually understand. That's irresistible. Want another punch of truth? Your customers don't want to be convinced. They want to feel like they're in on a secret. Your job isn't to force feed value. It's to show them a door they didn't know existed and then casually hold it open. And for God's sake, stop trying to manipulate people with false urgency and countdown timers that nobody believes. Real urgency comes from timing that makes sense. Remember Jonathan Fields? Yoga studio owner, summer slump hits, people disappear. What does he do? Not some cheesy namaste sale. He creates a membership that gives 4 months of classes for the price of 45 days, but only for new members, and only if you sign up now. The earlier you buy, the more you benefit. Simple, smart, strategic. That's how you engineer a response. And you can't just think about the pitch, you've got to think about the launch. Because if you think you're going to build something incredible and then quietly post a link to it on your Instagram stories with zero build up, you deserve the silence that follows. A real launch is theater, it's drama, it's storytelling with a clock ticking in the background. First, you tease it, then you hype it, then you open the gates and let the horde in. Let's get something straight. If your idea is good, people want to see it succeed. But they won't act unless you give them a reason to act now. That's why the best launches are choreographed. Every email, every post, every update is a move. It's a countdown, a climax, a finale. You want them to wake up with your launch date burned into their brains like it's the next Marvel movie. Want your offer to explode? Make it personal. Talk like a human. Kill the corporate language. This isn't the time for "we are pleased to announce our latest initiative." This is war. Say something real. Say it like you mean it. We're launching something that will save you 2 hours a day and make you look like a genius. It drops Friday. Be ready. And here's where most people screw it all up. They forget to follow through. They send the launch email, cross their fingers, and vanish. No, the game just started. You need testimonials, updates, check-ins. You need to show them it's working. You need to keep the hype alive. Because if you're lucky enough to get people to care, you'd better not go quiet. A launch isn't about being perfect. Something will go wrong. You'll miss a link. A graphic will look dumb on mobile, doesn't matter. What matters is showing up again, updating, owning your voice. Nobody cares if the ride is bumpy, just don't let it stall. And if all this sounds like too much, good. It should, because you don't get remembered for doing the minimum. You get remembered when your offer shows up like a gift from the gods at the exact moment someone needs it. That's not luck, that's intention, that's hustle. That's knowing your market, crafting your message, and delivering like it's a performance, not a pitch. So if you're sitting there with an idea in your head, wondering if now's the right time, it is. Craft the offer, build the buzz, light the fuse, then launch it like it's the last shot you'll ever get. Because let's be honest, most people will never launch. They'll tweak and wait and overthink until the opportunity's dead and buried. You don't get to be most people. Key takeaway, people don't buy products, they buy change. And the only offer that matters is one they can't walk away from, even if they try. Favorite quote, an offer you can't refuse is like the orange slice at mile 18 of a marathon. It shows up at exactly the right time, and you'd pay anything for it. Self-promotion that doesn't feel gross. Let's make this one hurt a little, in the best way possible. You know how people love to flex on LinkedIn with that humble brag energy? You've seen it. I'm honored to announce I'll be speaking at a conference I made up about something I Googled yesterday after landing a deal with a guy I met once on Clubhouse. And yet, they get likes, they get clients, they get paid. Why? Because they promote themselves. And you? You're too busy trying not to sound annoying, like that's some noble cause. Stop it. You're broke, not mysterious. This part of the book is about the one thing that will separate the invisible from the inevitable. Unapologetic, unfiltered, non-cringy self-promotion. Chris Guillebeau calls it hustling. And no, it doesn't mean becoming a walking billboard or one of those fake guru types shouting at people on rented Lambos. Hustling in this world is simply showing up and showing value. It's making sure your brilliance doesn't die in silence because you were too scared to say, hey, I made something. Wanna see? Let's get this straight. There are three types of people trying to promote a business. The charlatan, all talk, no results. The martyr, all action, zero voice. And the hustler, that's who you need to be. Talk and walk, style and substance. Create something amazing and have the guts to tell the world about it. That's the formula. This book chapter doesn't give you permission to promote. It demands it. You don't need a marketing degree. You need a backbone. Because if you're waiting for people to organically discover your brilliance, let me remind you, even McDonald's still runs ads. If they didn't need to, they wouldn't. But they do. So do you. Chris breaks down the difference between paid ads and relationship capital. Spoiler, relationships win. He ran an experiment. $10,000 in ads brought in 78 customers. But 10 hours of hustling, 84 customers. At a $756 per hour hustle rate. No, that's not a typo. And no, it's not some magic trick. It's what happens when you leverage what you already have. Your network, your story, your time, and stop waiting for the algorithm to bless you. The truth? You don't need more followers, you need more conversations. That means sending messages, following up, offering real help, not just pretending to be helpful while secretly hoping for a retweet. Hustling isn't about manipulation, it's about activation. And yeah, it takes effort. If you're whining about not having enough time, but you still know every plot twist in whatever show Netflix force-fed you last weekend, you're not busy, you're lazy. There's a reason Chris suggests spending half your time creating and the other half connecting. That's not theory, that's the engine. Create something worth talking about. Then make sure people are actually talking about it. Because if you don't make noise, the silence will. People don't magically discover greatness. They notice repetition. They respond to relevance. That means consistency isn't a branding gimmick. It's survival. You don't need a polished brand kit. You need the guts to show up on Tuesday and again on Thursday. Maybe you're not going viral, but if you're not even visible, what's the point? And here's the kicker. Even when you do show up, you need to lead with value. That means not just saying, hey, I launched this, but showing people why they should care. What problem do you solve? What shortcut do you provide? What pain do you remove? And yes, you should be able to answer that in one sentence. Still uncomfortable? Good. Growth is uncomfortable. That's how you know you're doing it right. The first time you message 50 people and tell them about your new project, you'll feel like a spam bot. But by the fifth reply that says, "Damn, this is actually really helpful," you'll realize why this matters. And if you're still too shy to talk about your work, then ask yourself this: is it really that good if you're scared to share it? Or are you still hiding because you're hoping for someone else to do the hard part? Newsflash: no one is coming. There is no PR fairy. Either you learn to say, "I made this, it's valuable, and here's why," or you get used to watching lesser ideas win just because their creators had the guts to promote them. And about the money? Oh yeah, Chris goes there too. People say money isn't the goal, but let's stop pretending rent is paid in exposure. You need to get paid, and you need to get paid right. This chapter shows you how people are using Kickstarter, PayPal, peer-to-peer loans, and creative methods to get funding without selling their soul to a bank. Remember Emma and Bruce? Couldn't get a business loan, so they faked a car loan and started their dream anyway. Paid it off in 10 months. Now they've got employees, offices in 4 countries, and not a single regret. Was it legal? Let's just say bold, but effective. You can sit around polishing your business plan, or you can pull a Bruce and make things happen. Same with Kristen, who raised $80,000 from her community by offering above prime interest in return. She didn't beg, she didn't pitch like she was on Shark Tank. She offered a win-win. People said yes. So what's stopping you? If you're building something of value, it's your duty to promote it. If you need money to grow it, it's your job to go get it, creatively, ethically, unashamedly, because the people who win aren't the ones with the best ideas. They're the ones who make their ideas impossible to ignore. Key takeaway: people hate ads. They love authenticity. Hustling isn't about being loud, it's about being real and relentless. Favorite quote: advertising is like sex, only losers pay for it. Clone your genius without burning out. Here we go, strap in. Because if you're still dreaming of scaling but refuse to build a system, I've got bad news. You're not an entrepreneur, you're a bottleneck. And your ego is doing a fantastic job of making sure your business never leaves the driveway. This next section, this punch to the gut, is for everyone who says they want freedom but insists on doing everything themselves. You know who you are. You say, "I'm just particular," or "no one can do it like I can." Yeah, well, guess what? That same mindset will have you drowning in customer emails at 3 a.m. while your dreams quietly rot in the corner like a forgotten gym membership. Chris Guillebeau doesn't sugarcoat it. He throws the hammer down, scale or stall. And you don't scale yourself, you scale systems. If you're still chasing inbox zero or obsessively tweaking your logo, you're not building a business, you're babysitting a to-do list. Let's fix that. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your genius, your flair, your special sauce, it's worth jack if you're the only one who can serve it. Stop being a gatekeeper to your own growth. Chris lays out how small actions, tweaks, not overhauls, can explode your income without exploding your calendar. Adding a service to your product business, that's leverage. Turning a one-time customer into a subscription, that's leverage. Creating a how-to video that answers your customers' questions so you don't have to every single time, that's leverage. You're not building a prison, you're building a machine. So stop handcuffing yourself to every gear. And let's be real, growth doesn't mean hiring 20 employees and running team building exercises on Zoom. It means making your output work harder than you do. Want to make more money? Find a way to do it without doing more work. That's not greed, it's strategy. Selling ebooks, licensing content, creating online courses, referral programs, affiliate deals, these are not advanced moves for Harvard MBAs. They're the new minimum. Chris talks about horizontal versus vertical expansion, but let me decode that for you. Do more for more people, or do more for the same people. Either way, stop pretending your business is so precious that only you can breathe life into it. If your product needs you personally attached to every sale, you don't have a business, you've got a job with anxiety as a bonus feature. And before you start crying that you can't afford to outsource, let me ask you this: how much is your time worth? No, not your fantasy time, your real time. If you're spending 5 hours doing something a virtual assistant could do for $15 an hour, you're not saving money, you're flushing it. Chris gives example after example of people who made this shift, like Natalie Lussier, who turned down a shiny Wall Street job because she realized it was someone else's dream and went all in on a raw food business, then built tools, built systems, built scale. Or Spencer and Hannah, who had a trash pickup business in West Africa. When they handed it off for a few months with no systems, it tanked. When they came back and rebuilt it with systems, boom. Reliable, repeatable, scalable. The lesson here is brutal but simple. Your job is to make yourself less necessary. Your brilliance should be embedded in your processes, not locked inside your head. Otherwise, the second you burn out, get sick, or just want a damn vacation, your business crashes harder than your Wi-Fi during a Zoom call. And let's not forget partnerships. Chris dives into how joint ventures, affiliate deals, and even loose collaborations can clone your reach without cloning your stress. Just don't be dumb about it. Make a one-page agreement. Be clear about expectations, because if your partnership ends up in the he said, she said zone, you've got bigger problems than client churn. You don't have to scale everything, but you do have to scale something. Want to stay small and nimble? Great. But even that requires systems. Freedom isn't free, it's built, and the price is letting go of the lie that you need to do everything yourself. So yeah, you can keep tweaking your website until it's pixel perfect, or you can build a business that doesn't need you babysitting it 24/7. One of those makes money while you sleep. The other makes excuses. Key takeaway: you don't scale time, you scale systems. The goal is not to clone yourself, it's to clone your output. Favorite quote: I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. Fear-proof your future. Let's get something straight. The world owes you nothing. You aren't entitled to success. You don't get a participation trophy just for trying. You only get what you build, and you only keep it if you can stand the fire. If you want to make it long-term, you need to build a business like you build a bunker. Strong, simple, and impossible to knock down. This part of the book is a boot to the neck of every fragile dreamer waiting for the perfect moment. If that's you, let me save you time. It's never coming. The truth is, resilience isn't just a nice add-on to your toolkit. It is the toolkit. You don't pivot around failure. You bulldoze through it. That's the point. Chris Guillebeau doesn't coddle. He walks you through two unavoidable truths. First, some people build their business to last. Others build it to flip. Either way, you better be honest with yourself about what kind of empire you're building, because what works for a lifestyle entrepreneur won't cut it if your goal is to exit for 8 figures. And vice versa. Don't confuse a laptop and a chai latte in Bali with a business model. He introduces a counter model, John Warrillow's Built to Sell framework. While most of the case studies in this book are micro businesses powered by passion and freedom, Warrillow's method is all about separation, detaching yourself from your business so that it can be sold like a well-oiled machine. No dependency, no hero complex, just structure, systems, and cold hard cash. So here's the kicker. If your business can't run without you, it's not a business. It's a job you made for yourself. And jobs don't scale, systems do. But maybe selling isn't your jam. Maybe you want to build something small and mighty, a one-person army of income and impact. Cool. Then you got to go long, not big. Guillebeau emphasizes this hard. Success doesn't mean growth for growth's sake. It means building to your own specifications, your own freedom metrics. You don't have to conquer the world. You just have to win your world. Be relentless, but on your terms. And let's talk about the elephant in the room. Failure. You think it's the end? It's not. It's the beginning, if you're not a coward. Guillebeau doesn't just say, don't be afraid to fail. He obliterates the concept of fear itself, Because most people don't fail due to the market or competition or lack of capital. They fail because they freeze, they flinch, they believe the horror stories. Most small businesses fail in the first year, yeah? And most people never even try. So what's worse, dying on your feet or rotting in your comfort zone? Real entrepreneurs know this. Failure is feedback. That launch that flopped, that's data. That rejected pitch, that's market research. You need these losses because they teach you something comfort never will, what you're made of. Guillebeau backs it up with stories from real entrepreneurs who faced the abyss and said, cool, guess I live here now. One business owner admits he expected failure just to say he did it and learned. Another was terrified of losing money, until he realized that if nobody died, it probably wasn't that big of a deal. That's the bar now. If the roof doesn't literally cave in and kill you, you can keep building. And here's the final moment. The moment they knew. That time when they cashed their first check, got their first client testimonial, saw their website go live, and it clicked. This wasn't a hobby anymore. This was real. This was theirs. That's when all the fear, all the uncertainty, all the imposter syndrome, shut up, because now you have proof. The lesson, you don't need certainty. You need a win, just one. That moment you know you're not crazy for betting on yourself. And then you do it again and again until your entire life is stitched together from choices no one else had the guts to make. Key takeaway, your future doesn't need to be bulletproof. It needs to be bold. Whether you build to sell or build to keep, what matters is that you build. And if you fail, at least you'll be the one writing the story, not reading someone else's. Favorite quote, but if nobody was going to die, even in the absolute worst case scenario, then what the hell was I so afraid of? I've never looked back. Get that tattooed on your brain. That's the spirit that wins. Not someday, not after the MBA, now. Next time someone asks you, what if you fail? Look them dead in the eyes and say, what if I don't? Conclusion. You've been spoon-fed a lie your whole life. That success comes from credentials, that freedom is only for the lucky, and that someone out there needs to approve you before you start something real. You read the book, or maybe you just got this brutal summary. Either way, here's the truth hitting you right between the eyes. You don't need more time, money, followers, or degrees. You need nerve. You need to stop waiting, stop thinking, and start building. Because the $100 startup isn't a business book. It's a wake-up call. It's proof that value beats vanity, execution beats intention, and freedom. It's available to anyone who's willing to stop being a spectator in their own life. Chris Guillebeau didn't hand you a blueprint. He handed you dynamite. The question is, do you light the fuse or keep pretending your job will magically become fulfilling if you hang on long enough? We covered everything. How your forgotten skills are more profitable than your resume. How passion isn't a plan, but it's a clue, if you've got the guts to follow it. How your customer isn't defined by their zip code, they're defined by belief. How a killer offer makes people beg to pay you. How to sell without selling out, promote without becoming a walking ad, and fund your business with hustle, not handouts. How to scale without breaking, and how to build something that doesn't fall apart the second you need a nap. And finally, how to make your fear shut the hell up and move out of the way. Now here's what I want you to do. Go buy the damn book. Don't just ride on this summary. Don't just quote it like you've lived it. Live it. Support the author, mark it up, dog-ear the pages, tear it apart if you have to, but use it. Because you don't need another piece of content. You need a commitment. And this book, this is the one you commit to if you're serious about reclaiming your time, your income, your power. And to the person still watching this thinking, I'll start next month, let me be clear, you won't. Because if you don't start now, you're not going to start later. Later is a lie. Start now. Even if it's messy, even if it's tiny, even if it's terrifying. Because freedom isn't found, it's forged. If this hit you hard, good. That means it was meant for you. Subscribe. Share this with the person who's all talk and no launch. Drop a comment with the exact thing you're building. Then shut this video off and go build it. You are not here to play small. You are not here to stay stuck. You are here to escape ordinary. And you've just run out of excuses.